everybody, it's Catherine from Jane Catherine on Books, and here's my June wrap-up. Sorry I've not filmed for a couple of weeks, but there's been a lot going on. You know, summer is my busiest time for work, and we've had a lot of hospital appointments with David, and it's, you know, life gets busy, and, you know, I haven't had time, but I hope that's okay with you guys. We've got some good stuff to share now. So, just a couple of things before I go on to the books I have read. Couple of swaps that I've had. This came this week. This is by Tess Gerritsen. This is Bloodstream. And Kerry Ann from Woman vs. Book, she kindly sent me this. And I haven't read this. I like Tess Gerritsen, a really good thriller by the sounds of this. So I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to do a buddy read with that. And then also I do a book swap every month. This is the one from Melanie, Mel's Bookland Adventures. This is Barbara Slay Carbonell. Now she knows I like my middle grade books. And this is Rosemary buying an old broomstick and a black cat. And she's no idea that this broomstick is a witch's broomstick. Well, you have to laugh at that because I thought all broomsticks were witches' broomsticks, but hey. So that's, yeah, that's from Melanie. So yeah, I'm looking forward to those. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I read 10 books in June, and I'm going to start with my lowest star rating first. A Town in Bloom, Dodie Smith. Now, I hauled this one recently, and I think I said in my haul video that this one hasn't got brilliant reviews on Goodreads, but I was going to take it, you know, on face value, see what I thought. This is set in theatre land, and oh dear, I'm going to be another one that adds to the Goodreads not liking. I gave it 1 star, I DNF'd it. Oh, it was just mundane. It was okay, mundane, just the life of a young girl finding work in a theatre. Oh, couldn't be doing with it really. It's, yeah, DNF'd it, got fed up. Next, The First Rebellion, which is MC Beaton. Just trying to see if you can see that. And this is the Waverley Women series. Now, I love MC Beaton. She's got various series about Agatha Raisin is her cosy crime whodunit. But they're just lovely cosy reads. There's no murder or anything like that in the Waverley series, but it's just a good romp through how life was back in the, you know, back in, I think it's Edwardian times actually. And we've got Madam Waverley, who used to be a lady of, a madam, shall we say, very renowned brothel, and she adopts 2 daughters, and it's sort of the lives around them. She's very much a woman's liber, is this Lady Waverley, and sort of brings the daughters up to be, you know, women are superior, and you know, which was quite an unusual way to bring your kids up in those days. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 3 star. Yeah, nice little palate cleanser. Then Amy Tan, The Bonesetters' Daughter. This was my real life library book club read. We meet next week to go through that. I ended up being really disappointed in this. I'd heard a lot about Amy Tan, sort of well-known author, and you know, on BookTube people have regularly reviewed her work. And our theme this month was China, books set in China or about Chinese history, and I was disappointed in it. I found the writing style really slow, really ploddy. I found that I was flicking through it. There's some good information about China and what China was like before the revolution, and that was a good historical fact in there, but goodness me, was it boring really. And I don't mind slow burners, and just ploddy and uninteresting, and so I gave it 3 stars. Now we next go to our 4-star books, and Edward Marston, Shadow of the Hangman. Now David and I have quite a few of the different series that Edward Marston's written. He's got many different ones. He's a really good historical writer, historical fiction writer, and his series tend to be set in different historical timelines. And this is of the era of the Bow Street Runners, and 1815, and that was a period of British history that I really enjoyed doing at school, and it was before we got proper police force, and the Bow Street Runners were accredited sort of policemen who you know, they'd go after the baddies, as it were, and they'd go running and see a crime being committed, and they'd start blowing the whistles and running off after the baddies. But this is set in that time, but it's got a really good structure to it, very good plot. We're looking at the Skillen brothers, they're all called thief takers. So the bow runners were just a famous group of thief takers that were registered around the London area, but there were many different groups of thief takers. So we've got the Skillen brothers and we've got the Bow Street Runners, and they were, like, in a way, rival bands of thief takers and crime solvers, and you can see this rivalry that's going on throughout the plot. And yeah, really enjoyed it. It's very well written. The historical content is great. It's got a very satisfying conclusion, and yeah, I'm going to read more of this. So I gave it 4 stars, which is unusual for me to give 4 stars to this type of book. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to reading more. The Bow Street Rivals series, that is, if you want to look that up. So the next 4-star is The Real Katy Lavender. This is by Erica James. Now, I used to read a lot of Erica James, also 10-20 years ago, and really good author. She does a lot of romance fiction and family drama, that sort of thing. This was lovely. We've got Katy Lavender. She's 30. She loses her job and doesn't quite know where to go with her life. She's already lost her parents, so she's gone through the grief of that. And suddenly she gets a letter from her mother's solicitor that gives her some information that's quite shocking, and it sort of turns her life on its edge, because everything that she thought was real in her life wasn't. And she goes in search of further information about the, how can we say without spoiling it, to find further information about various people that have been mentioned in this letter from the solicitors that her mother's written. And it's how all that unfolds, how this impacts on the 2 families that are involved, and there's also a bit of love interest in there, which was nicely written. Lovely plot, very easy to follow, real good feel about it, and yeah, well deserving of the 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Next, this big chunky book, Dorothy Koomson, The Rose Petal Beach. Now, I did feature this in one of my films about books that have got roses on, either about roses on the cover, or roses in the title. And I bloody read this with Lisa from Books and Smiles, and yeah, this was a really good book. I gave it 4 stars. The reason I didn't give it 5 stars, because there were times where I think that the plot sort of went off at a little bit of a tangent, and there were little bits added that really weren't that necessary to the storyline, and I felt that they didn't need to be in there. And you sort of, there's a fantastic plot to this, it starts off that we've got Tamia, who is, how can we say, she's, do you know, my mind's just gone blank now. Completely gone blank. Yes, that we've got Tamia, it's just suddenly come back to me there. We've got Tamia, whose husband's arrested in the middle of the day when the children are there. The police inspector, she won't say why he's been arrested, and off he's carted off. And it turns out that he's been arrested for supposedly raping Tamia's best friend. And you sort of get the lives of her husband Scott, what he's about. We get the backstory of how they fell in love, Scott and Tamia. And you get to know a bit about Scott's character. We get to know about Tamia. Now she's got two best friends. She's got Beatrice, and she's also got Mirabelle, who is the lady that supposedly Scott has raped. And it's a very good twist and turn. The plot twists and it turns. At times it builds slowly, and then we get a big twist, and then we steady off a bit, and then we get another big twist. And as I say, there's parts of it that I felt there was one twist too many, and we didn't really need some of that. Now, it was very infuriating at times as well, but to me that shows a good writer. You got very infuriated with Tamia, because you think, well, she's looking at Scott with rose-coloured glasses. He is just a womanizer that she deserves better than him, but you know, you just want to really give him a good shake and tell him to pull himself together. And then she's in denial of everything that he is. And then we've got a best friend B and Mirabelle, who are trying to support her but have got their own issues. And it really is a wonderful story. Now, Dorothy Koomson is the author of The Ice Cream Girls, and I don't know if anywhere else in the world has had the TV adaptation of The Ice Cream Girls, but it was a fabulous drama that we had on the TV here. And it's one of those that you're sort of on the edge of your seat, it's gripping, an edge of your seat, and oh, where's it going next? And yeah, this was the similar vein. It was very, how can we say, it was addictive. You couldn't put it down. You wanted to know what was happening. But as I say, I couldn't give it the full 5 stars, because at times I think there was too many twists and turns that wasn't really necessary, I felt. Well worth a read. We ended up feeling worn out with time. We'd gone along this roller coaster ride with these 3 girls, these 3 women. So yeah, try that. Dorothy Koomson, excellent writer. Then we go on to our 5-star reads. And the first one that I reviewed for NetGalley is Flight of the Starling. Now, this is the latest book by Lisa Heathfield. And yeah, I've read 3. Have I read 3? Have I read 2? No, I've read 2, because I haven't read Seed. I haven't read Seed by Lisa Heathfield, but yeah, she's a wonderful writer. This is the latest release. It came out on the 29th of June, and this is the story of 2 sisters, Rita and Lo, and they're brought up in a circus. And they sort of don't seem to be able to set down roots in a lot of ways, because, you know, they go to one town a couple of weeks and then they move on to the next. And there's something happened within this family that really shakes it to its core, shall we say, and causes a lot of distress. And it's a YA contemporary fiction. And it's just a lovely story. It's heartwarming, it's emotional, it's tear-jerking at times, and I love the way that we can see into the lives of people that are travelling all the time as part of the circus, and how they have different views on life, and the teenagers, how they, you know, who they interact with. They don't want them to have really, to have love interest outside of the circus family, and it's very well written. The plot is excellent, and yeah, well worth buying. Flight of the Starling, 5 stars. That's another 5-star read for me, for Lisa Heathfield. Fabulous story. Next 5-star read is Homo Spiritus by Helen Marriott. Now I'm not going to say too much about this one because I am going to be in the next few weeks going to do an author interview with Helen Marriott, so we can get more of an insight. It is probably not for everybody. It is, I wouldn't say it's just a self-help book, because I think there's so much more to it than that. I think it sort of makes us all think where we are, what we've done, where we're going, how we can live in the here and now and really enjoy our lives, and you know, not get too bogged down with everything negative around us. I think that's probably a way. I think Helen will explain it far better when I do the interview with Helen than I'm making a right mess of it. But it's what it's here. It said, the motivational book guides us in 6 steps towards that possibility of living a different kind of life. It's not a genie. It's not a genie. It's not an easy journey. It means reversing loops of bio-emotional stress responses, which we do every day, unconsciously all our lives. It is about changing the human mindset and healing the past. And if we succeed, and we can, there is real hope for the future. So yes, really looking forward to doing that author interview, and I think you'll get more of an idea what it's about. Yeah, so meeting Helen soon. And next 5-star is Time's Echo by Pamela Hartshorne. First time I've read anything by Pamela Hartshorne, certainly won't be the last. This is historical fiction, and I would say historical fiction at its best. It's set in 1577, it's set in York. There seem to be quite a few really good historical fiction set around the York area just lately. It is a fabulous city. It's not that about an hour's drive from where we live. Well worth a visit. It's got a whole city wall that you can walk all the way around. There's some fabulous old buildings. There's a street called the Shambles. We've got some fabulous architecture in there, and so a fabulous setting for this particular book. And we've got a lady called Hories, and we've got a split time narrative really, because Hoys is back in the 1577, and then we've got Grace in the here and now, present day York. And you probably can hear Nelson having a grumble at the window. I think there's a dog going past he's not impressed with. Yeah, so we've got split time narratives, and it's as if Grace keeps going back in time without being able to help it, and looking into the life of what is happening. She is Horeys or Horeys. It's not an easy name to say that, but she actually is her, living her in the past. And then she is Grace in the present day, and she's forever running away from life, from lovers, anything that's got stability. Unfortunately she was caught up in the Boxing Day tsunami, so that has a big impact on her. She's never really addressed the issues from that, so she's always frightened of loving and losing. And it is just an excellent book. The level and the what's the word, not exacting content, but the accuracy, I think that's what I'm wanting to say. The accuracy of the historical fact is fantastic. You really feel she's got this way of writing that makes you feel that you are there, that you are living everything. I mean, we had the plague, and we had all sorts of nasty diseases that were spread back in the day, and we also had the burning of witches, and there was the witch hunts going on. So really I would say read this for yourself. It's yeah, excellent read. And then finally we've got Little Nothing by Marisa Silva. And this came from, can't remember if it's a couple of months ago, we got the Moth Box that Mercedes, Mercy's Bookish Musings runs. And this was in there, and Kerry Ann and I, we did this as a buddy read right back at the beginning of the month. And to some extent, I don't think this does it any favours really, this cover. That's just my personal opinion. It is supposed to be, I think, representational of fur, because we do have, you know, there is a sort of magical realism feel going all the way through this book. And yeah, it's very unusual. Now, I have a bit of a strange relationship with magical realism. I enjoyed, let's have a look, White is for Witching, it's here. White is for Witching, Helena Yemeni. And that was a fantastic one that I really enjoyed. But there are others that I just can't get into. But this Little Nothing is easy to follow. It starts off with, we've got a young man, Danilo, and then we've got Pamela, who is the main character in this story. And it's as if, it feels as if Pamela shapeshifts throughout the book. So actually she starts off as she's brought up by a couple. She's born actually of little stature, so they used, you know, they used to call it dwarfism years ago, but it's, you know, there is a problem, hormonal problem, that means she's not grown properly. And then as the story progresses, she turns then into this long thin girl that's in the freak shows, a bit like Alice in Wonderland type character, you know, you drink me, eat me, and you're suddenly this tall, thin, funny looking character. And then she turns into an animal, and all through this we've got a love story running through it, which is Danilo falls in love with her the first time he meets her, and she goes missing, and obviously she goes on this journey of being different characters, changing into different characters. He just catches up with her, just about to catch up with her, and she's shapeshifted into something else, and he doesn't quite get her within his grasp. So there's this lovely underlying love story. He will go to the ends of the earth to find her because he loves her, and she loves him really, I think, but her life is sort of mapped out to go in this weird and wacky way, and we move along where she, you know, she follows a pack of wolves, and you get to know what they're doing, where they're going, and again we get, I don't feel like I'm explaining this very well. It's a very difficult book to sort of explain, which I think, like with magical realism, they're so wacky in places that it is difficult to explain, but we have still got a good plot, good themes going through this, of Danilo trying to catch up with her and tell her that he loves her no matter what shape or form he's in, that she's in. And, you know, I think that there's an underlying message there that, you know, love is skin deep and it's in the eye of the beholder, and it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, it's who you are as the real person within that people fall in love with. And I think that's a great message to take forward from this book. So I suggest that you read it. It was a very, very strong 5 stars. Yes, it was a bit wacky. Yes, it didn't always make sense, but a very good, well-written piece of work. And we thoroughly enjoyed doing the buddy reading. So for all those of you that have got this from the Moth Box and not quite got into it, then please give that a try. You can tell I've not been doing videos for a while, can't you? I'm struggling. So thank you for joining me. I'm hoping to film another couple of videos over the weekend while I've got a bit more time, and please, you know, just excuse me, there's a lot going on, you know, with David, and I'm going to look after my mum in London next month because she's having yet another course of chemotherapy, and so please just bear with me. I'm going to film when I can. Alright darlings, bye for now.